Willem Dafoe. I mean, we all know his face, right? That voice.
Yeah.
But how does one actor become so utterly transformative across every single role?
Right.
From, a chilling villain to a compassionate motel manager, even taking on Jesus Christ in a way that sparked huge controversy.
It's an incredible range.
It really is. It makes you wonder what truly defines that kind of fearless artistry. So, that's what we're diving into today.
Let's do it.
We're embarking on this pretty extraordinary journey into Willem Dafoe's career, an actor who, well, he's consistently defied categorization, hasn't he?
Completely.
Effortlessly blurring those lines between the big mainstream blockbusters and some really daring independent cinema. That undeniable presence he has, his ability to embody characters with such unique intensity, it just leaves a mark.
And what's truly fascinating here, I think, is how Dafoe has not only carved out this very unique space in contemporary cinema, but he's maintained it for over 4 decades now.
Yeah, that longevity is something else.
It is. And it's not just about, memorable performances here and there. It's about a profound, an unwavering dedication to his craft, a commitment that has truly defined his whole journey.
Okay.
So this deep dive, it's really about understanding the multifaceted path of a true icon. And for this, we're drawing our insights from some really comprehensive profiles, extended biographical accounts, and quite detailed analyses of his artistic philosophy.
Gotcha. So the core mission today, then, is to try and uncover what exactly makes Willem Dafoe one of the most respected and, frankly, influential actors of his generation.
Right.
We'll explore his surprisingly humble origins, really delve into those groundbreaking roles, and, dissect the distinctive artistic approach that's allowed him to leave such an undeniable fingerprint on modern cinema.
Yeah.
You might think you know Willem Dafoe, but I think we're about to peel back some layers and discover the artist underneath.
I think so, too. It's a fascinating journey.
So when we think of these iconic actors, our minds often jump straight to, the bright lights, New York, L.A.,
The usual suspects.
Exactly. Places synonymous with artistic ambition. But Dafoe's story, the very genesis of this fearless artist we're talking about, it actually begins far from those bustling centers. It's a starting point that, looking back, actually offers some pretty profound insights into that grounded intensity he brings to his work.
Indeed. Willem Dafoe, born William James Dafoe, July 22, 1955. He hails from a place that might surprise quite a few people. Appleton, Wisconsin.
Right, Appleton.
Yeah, Appleton. Picture, a modest Midwestern town. It's a setting that seems pretty far removed from the avant-garde theater stages or those gritty film sets he'd eventually inhabit.
Totally different world.
But this seemingly conventional upbringing in Appleton, it actually played a crucial role. He seems to have instilled in him this grounded sense of self, a really strong work ethic, and an appreciation for perseverance.
Okay.
He's the eldest of 5 siblings, and his family life, well, maybe not overtly artistic in the traditional sense, provided a surprisingly fertile ground for his unique talents to start developing.
So it wasn't just a simple, quiet Midwestern childhood then. It sounds like his family dynamic offered this sort of paradoxical foundation, subtly pushing him towards the arts in maybe unexpected ways.
Absolutely. His father, for instance, he was a conservationist and a farmer.
Okay, interesting combination.
Yeah. Now, you might think such a practical, hands-on profession would lead someone away from the world to performance.
Right. Seems logical.
But his father's work, it seems to have instilled in young Willem these values of hard work, but also meticulous observation.
Ah.
And a deep respect for nature's really intricate systems. That patience required to observe the precise details of the natural world, its cycles, its complexities. Perhaps that mirrored the meticulous observation he would later apply to human behavior and character.
That makes sense, that observational skill.
It subtly influenced his artistic sensibilities, perhaps even fostering that raw, sort of unfiltered quality we often see in his performances.
Okay. And his mother.
Then you have his mother, who was a nurse. Now, this role contributed a nurturing influence, yes, definitely, but also, crucially, a profound awareness of human vulnerability.
Ah, yeah. You'd see a lot.
Exactly. Nursing demands this unique blend of empathy and objectivity, right? An understanding of the delicate balance of human emotions, suffering, resilience. This exposure, likely to raw, unfiltered emotional reality, the human condition in its most vulnerable state, no doubt cultivated a deep compassion and a keen psychological insight that would later fuel the profound emotional honesty he brings to his roles.
So you've got this grounded upbringing, valuing hard work, integrity. But somehow it fostered this intense curiosity and this powerful creative spirit. It actually supported his early interest in the arts.
Exactly. It's almost as if that fertile soil allowed a very unusual and vibrant plant to grow,
Mm.
one that could deeply root itself while still reaching for the extraordinary.
That's a fantastic way to put it. So from a young age, this was less about just being a performer in the usual sense and more about a deep, almost academic curiosity about human nature itself.
Precisely. From a remarkably young age, Dafoe demonstrated this really intense curiosity and creative spirit. He's drawn to storytelling, yes, but also the act of performance itself.
Okay.
He wasn't simply participating in school plays and local theater to, show off or seek applause, though that's often a common motivator for young actors, right?
Sure, yeah.
For him, it seemed to be about something far deeper. He was fascinated by the very act of embodying different characters, by the psychological journey of stepping into another's skin and exploring their emotions, their motivations, their inner lives.
So really getting inside their head.
Exactly. This early play acting wasn't just like a childish pastime. It really foreshadowed his lifelong devotion to exploring human behavior and emotion. It showcased a kind of precocious understanding of psychology, a raw talent that he would later refine with incredibly rigorous discipline. He was already seeking truth in character, even at a young age, by trying to understand the inner workings of others.
And that early inclination, that deep curiosity, it led him to a truly defining experience.
Mhm.
His university studies, and crucially, this experimental theater company he co-founded. This sounds like it was way more than just typical acting classes.
Oh, far from it. He attended the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, studying theater and fine arts. And while, sure, traditional academic studies were certainly part of his curriculum, the truly pivotal moment during his college years was when he co-founded the Theater X in 1976.
Theater X. Okay.
And this was absolutely not your typical university drama club. It was a pioneering experimental theater company, an ensemble that would fundamentally shape his artistic identity and his philosophy in ways that honestly reverberates through his entire career.
So what made Theater X such a crucial crucible for him? What were its defining characteristics? Because it really sounds like this was less about traditional acting practice and more of a philosophical boot camp for performers.
That's a good way to put it. It was an intense philosophical and practical boot camp. Theater X was characterized by several key elements. Firstly, they totally embraced avant-garde techniques.
Okay.
This meant pushing way beyond traditional stage conventions, delving deeply into physical theater, where actors use their bodies and movement as much as, or even more than, dialogue to convey meaning and emotion.
Right, using the whole instrument.
Exactly. They relied heavily on improvisation and focused intently on collective creation. It wasn't about one star performer. It was about the ensemble, fostering this profound respect for collaborative work and a shared artistic vision.
Interesting. So very collaborative from the start.
Very.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, their productions were often intensely socially engaged. They
Ah.
directly addressed political and existential themes head-on, often with a really raw, sometimes confrontational energy. They weren't afraid to provoke,
Yeah.
to challenge audiences' comfort zones and to explore the more uncomfortable, messy aspects of the human condition.
Which definitely tracks with his later film choices, doesn't it?
It absolutely foreshadowed that. And the collaborative nature, as I mentioned, fostered this profound respect for ensemble work and, importantly, artistic risk-taking. It was about creating together, sharing responsibility for the narrative, and trusting each other implicitly to sort of venture into the unknown.
Okay.
There was a genuine sense of collective ownership over the art they were making. And finally, they toured extensively, performing at fringe festivals in really intimate venues, even unconventional spaces like warehouses or outdoors.
Wow.
This hands-on, on-the-road experience honed his craft in ways traditional academic theater rarely allows. It gave him an invaluable education in adapting to diverse environments, improvising on the fly, and connecting with audiences in these really raw, immediate, and sometimes uncomfortable ways.
So what does this foundational experience at Theater X ultimately mean for Dafoe's later career? I mean, this clearly wasn't just acting school. This was a deep dive into the very nature of performance, pushing boundaries right from the start.
The foundation laid at Theater X profoundly shaped his artistic identity. It indelibly marked his approach to every single role thereafter. It instilled in him this dedication to authenticity and almost surgical emotional honesty, and that raw physicality that became absolute hallmarks of his performances, whether on stage or screen.
Mm-hmm.
Dafoe often credits Theater X with teaching him the power of presence, the ability to be fully in the moment, to command attention, not just through dialogue, but through sheer being. through the unspoken narrative his body
Yeah,
conveys.
that presence is undeniable.
It also taught him the crucial importance of taking creative risks, of continually exploring the edge of his comfort zone. And these lessons, they would resonate throughout his entire film career, serving as a kind of guiding philosophy for every role he chose, no matter how big or small, or how conventional or experimental. It's really why he can bring such a unique, visceral quality to any character, even as we'll discuss, a comic book villain.
That grounding in experimental theater provided an incredible launchpad, absolutely. But then came the transition to the screen. How did an actor with such a distinctive, intense stage presence make that leap to cinematic impact where, every flicker of an eye is magnified?
Well, his transition to film began in the late 1970s and early 1980s. And these were often small but pretty striking parts, almost like he was testing the waters, learning a new language for performance.
Okay.
His very first notable film appearance was actually in Michael Cimino's Heaven's Gate in 1980.
Oh, wow. Heaven's Gate. That's quite a start.
Right. Now, that film was notoriously controversial, famously ambitious, and its production was, well, troubled, to say the least, led to one of Hollywood's most legendary financial disasters.
It's infamous.
Infamous, exactly.
Yeah.
But for Dafoe, it served as his raw, kind of unfiltered introduction to the Hollywood filmmaking world. It put him on a very specific, if maybe chaotic, radar. It was really baptism by fire,
Yeah.
forcing him to adapt to the unpredictable nature of large-scale film production right out of the gate.
A trial by fire, indeed. Not exactly the easiest entry point for an actor accustomed to that tight collaborative stage work, I imagine.
Precisely. And a string of supporting roles followed. The one that truly started to garner significant attention and really showcase his cinematic potential was To Live and Die in L.A. in 1985, directed by William Friedkin.
Ah, yes. Great film.
Yeah. In it, he portrayed Rick Masters, this ruthless and chillingly charismatic counterfeiter. His performance immediately showcased his capacity for that intensity and menace we know, but what truly stood out was his unpredictability. This almost magnetic quality that drew audiences in despite the character's villainy.
He had that dangerous charm.
Exactly. He demonstrated this compelling blend of calculated danger and unsettling charm, immediately signaling that his unique stage presence could translate powerfully to the screen. It really foreshadowed the complex, morally ambiguous antagonists he would later portray with such chilling effectiveness. And this raised an important question, I think, for audiences and critics at the time. How did an actor steeped in experimental theater adapt that intense physicality for the screen, where, the camera picks up every subtle nuance, every flicker of an eye, requiring a much more internalized performance than stage work often demands?
Right. Different scale entirely.
These early roles were absolutely crucial proving grounds for him to understand that difference. The difference between projecting to a large audience in a theater and delivering a raw, intimate performance right for the lens.
And then came the role that wasn't just a part. It was, like you said earlier, a powerful statement that really cemented his place in Hollywood. Sergeant Elias in Oliver Stone's Platoon from 1986. This wasn't just a breakthrough. It felt like a moment that etched him into cinematic history.
Without a doubt. Starring as Sergeant Elias in Oliver Stone's Platoon. I mean, that film wasn't merely a war movie, was it? It was this visceral, unflinching exploration of the psychological and moral toll of the Vietnam War.
Yeah, it hit hard.
It really did. The film itself became a phenomenon, winning multiple Academy Awards, including Best Picture. And Dafoe's character, Sergeant Elias, became almost instantly iconic. He embodied this character who was both idealistic and tragically flawed, didn't he? A kind of moral compass caught in the brutal realities of combat. A soldier representing integrity amidst utter chaos. Dafoe imbued Elias with such profound warmth, an unwavering idealism, and a truly devastating vulnerability, which made his character's fate particularly heart-wrenching. That death scene.
Oh, yeah. Unforgettable.
It became one of the most memorable and haunting images in cinema history, I think.
And the impact. It wasn't just a good performance. It was critically acclaimed, earning him his first major industry recognition, right?
It earned him his first Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor. But even more than just an award nod, Platoon established his reputation for deep emotional nuance. It solidified his ability to command the screen with profound gravitas. It showcased his gift for complex performances and his ability to convey immense human emotion, from despair to spiritual conviction, through those subtle gestures, that raw physicality, and those incredibly expressive eyes he possesses.
Yeah.
It proved he could play a character of immense moral complexity, capable of both great strength and profound tenderness, anchoring this brutal war narrative with a searing sense of humanity.
So, from the visceral battlefields of Vietnam, he made an even more daring leap, certainly more controversial, taking on the role of Jesus Christ in Martin Scorsese's The Last Temptation of Christ in 1988. I mean, wow, that was an artistic choice that invited immense public debate and backlash.
Absolutely daring is the word. Dafoe took on what was arguably the most challenging and potentially career-ending role imaginable at that time. Jesus Christ in Martin Scorsese's intensely personal adaptation of Nikos Kazantzakis' novel.
Right. Controversial source material, too.
Hugely. This film, as you mentioned, polarized audiences and sparked intense debate and protests even before its release. It depicted Jesus not just as a divine figure, but as a deeply human one, grappling with profound doubt, fear, and yes, human desire, a Messiah torn between his sacred destiny and the pull of an ordinary life. And Dafoe's portrayal was lauded precisely for its bravery and its spiritual depth because it leaned into that humanity rather than shying away from it.
So it wasn't just a portrayal, it was an interpretation that fundamentally challenged conventional narratives and expectations of such a revered figure.
Yes, exactly. His performance offered this deeply humanized, conflicted depiction, emphasizing vulnerability, doubt, and inner struggle. It wasn't an easy role to take on, and it demanded extraordinary preparation.
I can only imagine.
Dafoe immersed himself in theological texts, philosophical questions, historical research, really engaging with the material on a profound intellectual and spiritual level. He spent time studying biblical narratives and the sheer psychological weight of the character's burden. The intense physicality he brought to the performance, combined with this raw spiritual vulnerability, won him critical acclaim, and perhaps more importantly, it solidified Dafoe's reputation as an actor, utterly unafraid to confront complex, polarizing, and even sacred material head-on.
Yeah, that fearlessness again.
And what's fascinating here is Dafoe's willingness to embrace a role that was almost guaranteed to be divisive and draw immense controversy. It wasn't just about acting for him, clearly. It was about confronting complex philosophical and spiritual questions about faith, doubt, sacrifice. It's a testament to his fearlessness, showing he prioritized artistic exploration and the pursuit of a particular truth over public comfort or, avoiding controversy. This willingness to lean into discomfort and challenge preconceived notions became a defining hallmark of his career moving forward.
And he didn't stop there, did he? Throughout the rest of the 80s and into the 90s, he continued to solidify this reputation by consistently choosing roles that challenge mainstream conventions, often delving into psychologically fraught, morally ambiguous, and frequently darker characters.
That's absolutely right. He seemed to make a deliberate choice to work with directors who also pushed boundaries, establishing these key collaborations that would define this period and really diversify his impressive portfolio. Directors like David Cronenberg, for instance.
Right, Cronenberg. Makes sense.
He worked with him on The Dead Zone early on, and then later on Crash in 1996, where he delivered that performance, both unsettling and strangely poignant, as a scientist obsessed with car crashes and eroticism. He wasn't afraid of the transgressive, clearly.
Not at all.
He also frequently collaborated with Abel Ferrara, appearing in intense, gritty films like The Funeral and Body Snatchers, roles that often explored the darker side of human nature and societal decay. These collaborations really allowed him to explore the extreme edges of human experience.
And one performance from this period that truly stands out, I think, is his chilling depiction of Max Schreck.
Ah, yes. Shadow of the Vampire from 2000. In that, he delivered a truly uncanny portrayal of Max Schreck, the mysterious, unsettling actor who played the vampire in F.W. Murnau's seminal silent horror film Nosferatu.
Such a clever concept for a film.
It really was. And for this, he received another Oscar nod for Best Supporting Actor. What made his performance so remarkable was how Dafoe just blurred the lines between actor and monster, between reality and fiction. The premise of the film was that Max Schreck was a real vampire, right?
Right.
And Dafoe inhabited the character with such eerie conviction and unsettling mannerisms, from his pale, gaunt appearance to his awkward, almost animalistic movements, that you almost believed he was a creature of the night, not just acting as one.
He was terrifyingly convincing.
He found the profound melancholy and the predatory instinct within the character, making him both terrifying and somehow oddly sympathetic. This role perfectly encapsulated his fascination with duality and ambiguity in characters, and his unparalleled ability to just disappear into a role, transforming himself physically and psychologically.
It really shows a pattern, doesn't it? A deliberate artistic path forming. He wasn't just taking any role that came along. He was consistently picking characters that allowed him to explore the darker, more intricate parts of the human experience, finding humanity even in monstrousness.
Precisely.
So he'd built this incredible foundation in art house and experimental cinema, often playing these morally ambiguous, psychologically deep characters. But then comes the moment where he just leaps into the global spotlight, becoming this iconic villain in a massive blockbuster. We're talking, of course, about Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin, in Spider-Man from 2002. That was a role that introduced him to an entirely new generation of fans, myself included.
Indeed. This role achieved truly global recognition for him. It catapulted Willem Dafoe into the mainstream consciousness and introduced him to this massive audience beyond the art house and independent film fans who already admired him. His portrayal of Norman Osborn and his villainous alter ego, the Green Goblin, in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, well, it was nothing short of electric.
Yeah, electric is the perfect word.
It was a performance that balanced theatricality with a genuine psychological torment, and it really set a new benchmark for comic book villains at the time.
Electric is almost an understatement. He was so dynamic, often manic, and he brought a depth to the comic book antagonist that had rarely been seen before. It felt like he was having the time of his life doing it, but also genuinely terrifying.
Absolutely. Dafoe blended charm, menace, tragedy, that manic energy and emotional volatility into one terrifyingly compelling character. He didn't just play a cartoon villain. He infused the Green Goblin with a tragic psychological depth, didn't he? Making him sympathetic one moment as the tormented Norman Osborn, and then monstrous the next as his unhinged alter ego.
That duality was key.
It was. His performance set a remarkably high standard for superhero villains, proving that even in a fantastical CGI-heavy genre, you could deliver a performance of serious artistic merit, rooted in character and genuine internal conflict. He found the human tragedy within the fantastical, making the Green Goblin resonate far beyond simple good versus evil tropes.
And it resonated so much that he even reprised the role years later, which is pretty rare for a villain, especially after so long.
Yes, he famously reprised the role nearly 2 decades later in Spider-Man: No Way Home in 2021. And his return was met with immense praise, wasn't it? Not just for the nostalgic thrill of seeing him back.
Well, that was huge.
Huge. But also for the renewed emotional resonance and depth he brought to the character. He effectively bridged different Spider-Man eras and just delighted fans worldwide who had grown up with his original portrayal. It demonstrated his lasting impact and his ability to revisit a character with renewed depth and intensity without missing a beat.
It really did.
Which, it raises an important question. How does an actor known for such intense, often dramatic, art house roles inject so much depth into a comic book villain without losing his artistic integrity? It's really a masterclass in elevating the genre, proving that a blockbuster doesn't have to mean sacrificing complexity. He found the genuine human tragedy and internal conflict within the fantastical.
What's truly remarkable, though, is that despite this massive blockbuster success and this newfound global recognition, Dafoe never abandoned his roots, did he? He consistently maintained his art house credibility, continuing to collaborate with visionary auteurs, almost as if he needed to balance the commercial with the creatively challenging.
That's such a defining characteristic of his career, and perhaps one of the most admirable things about him. He could have easily gone down the path of pure commercial cinema, right?
Yeah.
Taking on lucrative, but perhaps less creatively fulfilling roles.
Easily.
But he steadfastly continued to seek out projects that challenged him artistically, demonstrating this unwavering commitment to his initial artistic philosophy. His collaborations with directors who possess truly distinctive voices are a testament to this, showing a dedication to craft over mere celebrity.
Can you give us some examples of these crucial collaborations, the ones that really showcase his range beyond the blockbuster villain?
Oh, definitely. Well, Lars von Trier is certainly one of the most intense collaborators.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly.
Their collaboration on films like Antichrist in 2009 saw Dafoe portray a grieving father consumed by sorrow and madness, struggling with his wife in this desolate cabin. It was a role demanding intense psychological and physical commitment, pushing boundaries in terms of its raw emotional content, and, well, controversial themes.
Very controversial.
The film itself was deeply polarizing, but Dafoe's performance was universally praised for its unflinching bravery. Then, completely different end of the spectrum, there's Wes Anderson.
Ah, yes. Love his Wes Anderson
Like,
roles.
completely different cinematic universe, right? Dafoe has appeared in films like The Grand Budapest Hotel in 2014, playing the menacing henchman Joplin, teeth and all,
Unforgettable.
and he lent his voice to the animated Fantastic Mr. Fox. His quirky, stylized characters in Anderson's films add perfectly to their distinctively unique cinematic worlds, showcasing his surprising comedic timing and his ability to fit into a highly specific, almost theatrical aesthetic.
It shows incredible versatility.
It really does. So he can go from intense psychological drama to whimsical, stylized comedy with remarkable ease. But his commitment extends beyond just these high-profile collaborations. He also worked with Werner Herzog, a director known for poetic and often surreal cinema, appearing in films like Nosferatu the Vampire back in 1979 and The Enigma of Caspar Hauser in 1974. These earlier films allowed him to explore the fringes of human experience in a profound, almost spiritual way, establishing his affinity for the unconventional very early on.
Right.
And then a truly beloved performance, which showcased a completely different facet of his acting range, came with Sean Baker's The Florida Project in 2017.
Ah, what a film and what a performance.
Incredible. Here, Dafoe played Bobby, the gentle, weary, and deeply empathetic motel manager watching over these impoverished families living on the fringes of Disney World. This was such a tender, profoundly humanizing portrayal. It earned widespread praise and yet another Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor.
Well deserved.
It beautifully contrasted with his more intense or villainous roles, revealing this quiet dignity, a profound compassion, and a grounded realism that was just deeply moving. It was a testament to his versatility and his ability to find the quiet dignity and sort of heroic patience in everyday characters.
Yeah.
And he also maintained enduring collaborations with Paul Schrader, starring in films like Light Sleeper back in '92, and the critically acclaimed First Reformed in 2017, where he played a tortured priest, further proving his ability to tackle these heavy existential themes.
What's truly striking is this seamless pivot he makes. Going from the Green Goblin to a compassionate motel manager, or a man descending into madness in a black and white art film like The Lighthouse, it just speaks volumes about his artistic choices and his commitment to diverse character exploration. He refuses to be typecast by his intense features or his previous successes.
And this commitment to pushing boundaries and exploring the human condition through extreme circumstances leads us directly to what many consider one of the absolute pinnacles of his career. The Lighthouse from 2019. It's widely regarded as one of his most powerful and physically demanding performances.
Definitely. He co-starred with Robert Pattinson, and it's a film that genuinely stays with you long after you've seen it. It's so claustrophobic, unsettling, and strangely hypnotic. What made his performance here so extraordinary?
Well, The Lighthouse featured this haunting, almost operatic portrayal of Thomas Wake, an aging, domineering lighthouse keeper slowly spiraling into madness alongside his junior counterpart, played by Pattinson. Dafoe showcased his unparalleled ability to balance horror, grotesque humor, and profound tragedy in this incredibly claustrophobic and surreal setting.
The atmosphere was palpable.
Completely. The film's distinctive black and white cinematography and its demand for intensely physical and psychological performances required extraordinary presence and stamina from both actors. Dafoe, in particular, delivered these long, complex monologues in a thick, archaic dialect, full of maritime lore and existential dread, with a chilling intensity that was both mesmerizing and deeply disturbing. His eyes.
Oh, his eyes in that film.
Often piercing and almost manic, they conveyed volumes without a single word. If we connect this to the bigger picture, The Lighthouse is a prime example of Dafoe's complete physical and psychological immersion in a role. His ability to convey profound psychological torment with this raw, almost guttural emotion, combined with moments of dark, unsettling humor, it just makes it a modern classic. It solidified his reputation as an actor capable of carrying a film on the sheer force of his performance, even in a two-hander that is essentially just a descent into madness. It was a role that truly allowed his unique methods and his capacity for embodying extremes to shine through.
And as if that weren't enough, he also took on the challenge of portraying a real-life artistic icon, someone whose inner turmoil was as famous as his brushstrokes, in At Eternity's Gate from 2018, playing Van Gogh.
Yes, he portrayed Vincent van Gogh in that film, directed by Julian Schnabel, who is himself a painter, which is interesting.
Right.
This role earned Dafoe an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor, his first in the leading category. The film approached Van Gogh's life, particularly his final years, with a really poetic and deeply empathetic lens. Dafoe's performance further showcased his ability to inhabit complex, real-life figures with profound depth, blending his signature intensity with a surprising, almost fragile, artistic vulnerability.
He wasn't just doing an imitation.
No, not at all. He didn't just mimic Van Gogh. He delved into the artist's intense psychological landscapes, his spiritual quest, his struggle with mental illness, and his passionate connection to nature. He brought Van Gogh's inner turmoil and artistic zeal to life in a way that felt authentic and deeply moving, almost as if he channeled the painter's spirit somehow.
So we've seen the trajectory from humble Midwestern roots through that experimental theater crucible to Hollywood blockbusters and these critically acclaimed art house films. It's a career of immense range and consistent challenge. But what truly ties all of this together? What is the Dafoe method, if you can call it that? His unique artistic approach that allows him to transform so completely.
Well, at its core, I think Dafoe's acting style is defined by three inseparable elements: intensity, precision, and a profound physicality.
Okay. Intensity, precision, physicality.
Yeah. He doesn't just act with his voice. He acts with every fiber of his being, every sinew, every subtle shift of weight. You can almost feel the energy radiating from him on screen, whether he's coiled in menace or trembling with vulnerability.
I can certainly see that. You really can almost feel the energy coming off the screen. How much does his theater background play into this unique physicality and presence, do you think?
Oh, it heavily draws from his theater background, especially his time with the Theater X. He approaches each role with meticulous preparation and an unwavering commitment to emotional truth, not just theatricality for its own sake.
Right.
He doesn't rely on superficial gestures. Every movement, every expression, every posture feels purposeful, imbued with meaning. His key tools are, obviously, his incredibly expressive face, those piercing eyes, and his masterful command of facial micro-expressions and body language. He's able to communicate complex internal states, a flicker of doubt, a surge of rage, a deep sadness, without relying solely on dialogue. His eyes, in particular, as we've mentioned, are often cited as one of his most powerful tools. They're able to convey fear, rage, sorrow, or joy without a single word. He can tell an entire story just with a look, a subtle shift in his gaze.
It's an almost nonverbal storytelling technique that's incredibly impactful. It's not just about delivering lines, it's about conveying an entire universe of emotion with just a look or a subtle shift in posture, something he undoubtedly honed on those experimental stages back in the day.
Absolutely. Yeah. And beyond that visible physicality, there's a deep psychological immersion and meticulous preparation that underpins his work. He employs this methodical process that combines extensive research into his characters' backgrounds and motivations, close collaboration with directors and fellow actors, and profound psychological exploration. For example, for The Last Temptation of Christ, his research went far beyond typical script analysis, didn't it? Delving into theological texts.
Right.
For The Lighthouse, he reportedly spent time studying the lives of actual lighthouse keepers, their isolation, their routines, even their specific dialect.
So, is he a method actor then in the traditional sense? Does he try to live the role off screen?
It's nuanced. He certainly adopts elements of method acting, allowing him to truly immerse himself in aspects of the role in his daily life, but always with an eye towards authenticity on screen, not just off it, if that makes sense. He's not necessarily staying in character 24/7 in the way some actors famously do, but he's constantly finding ways to connect with the character's reality. He's spoken quite a bit about the importance of vulnerability and emotional honesty in acting, actively rejecting artificial or superficial performances. He views acting as an immersive experience, believing that the actor's job is to be fully present and open to each moment, allowing the character to evolve organically through his own experiences and understanding. This means he's not just playing a role. He's allowing the character to inhabit him, if you will, for the duration of the project, truly seeking their truth.
And this commitment to authenticity, it leads us directly to his fearless role choices, doesn't it? He doesn't shy away from the extremes. He seems to actively seek them out.
Not at all. He consistently chooses roles that challenge conventional narratives or explore the margins of human experience. Whether he's playing a villain wrestling with his own demons, a tortured hero grappling with faith, or an enigmatic outsider, Dafoe's drawn to characters who grapple with profound internal conflicts and inhabit these morally ambiguous spaces. This inclination has led him to embrace roles across an incredible range of genres: experimental films, psychological horror, raw dramas, even historical epics. He's not content to stay in one lane. He's constantly seeking out new challenges that allow him to delve into different, often uncomfortable facets of the human condition.
Yeah.
Which raises an important question, I think, about the boundaries of performance. What makes an actor consistently gravitate towards characters facing psychological turmoil, moral ambiguity, or existential crises? It really speaks to a deep curiosity about the human condition itself, doesn't it? A desire to understand and portray the full, often uncomfortable spectrum of human experience. He's not afraid to show us the parts of ourselves we might prefer to hide or perhaps even don't recognize.
And finally, his collaborative spirit. It seems like his method, whatever we call it, isn't a solitary pursuit, but something deeply intertwined with the entire creative process of the production. He really values that creative partnership.
That's a crucial point, and it absolutely harks back to his Theater X days. While his individual preparation is intensely rigorous, he truly embraces collaboration. He works closely with directors and fellow actors, often spending extensive time in rehearsals and discussions, shaping his characters in a way that serves the overarching story while maintaining his artistic integrity. His openness to experimentation and risk-taking, which we discussed earlier, has earned him immense respect among filmmakers and peers alike. He's known for being incredibly generous with his scene partners and for elevating the performances around him.
That's great to hear.
He's not just a talent for hire, he's a creative partner, contributing to the broader artistic vision of the film, willing to try new approaches and always pushing for a deeper truth. This collaborative ethic is as much a part of the Dafoe method as his personal intensity.
So, beyond the intense performances and the transformative roles, what about Willem Dafoe, the man? What's his personal life like? And how does he maintain such a grounded presence amidst the fame and the constant demands of his craft, especially after embodying such extreme characters? It must take a toll.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
Mm.
But despite his considerable fame and the demanding nature of his roles, Dafoe maintains a remarkably private personal life. He's known for his humility, his unwavering dedication to his craft, and a deep intellectual curiosity that extends far beyond acting. He's not someone who actively seeks the spotlight off-screen, preferring to let his work speak for itself.
Which is refreshing.
It is.
Yeah.
It's fascinating how an actor known for such explosive, often visceral performances maintains such a private and grounded personal life, channeling his creative energy into other artistic pursuits. It almost seems counterintuitive, doesn't it?
It does, but I think it speaks to his core identity as an artist, not just an actor. He's been married to the Italian actress and filmmaker Giada Colabrande since 2005.
Their relationship seems marked by mutual respect and a clear creative synergy. They frequently collaborate artistically, blending their talents in film and visual art. For instance, he has starred in several of her films, like Before It Had a Name and a Woman. This partnership seems to be a significant source of creative fulfillment and grounding for him, providing a stable, shared creative outlet away from the Hollywood machine.
Makes sense.
And beyond acting and filmmaking, he's also deeply passionate about visual arts and photography, actively exploring these mediums as complementary forms of creative expression. It further proves his creative impulse isn't limited to performance, but is a broader, integral aspect of his identity.
And he doesn't just keep his passions to himself, right? He also uses his platform for good, engaging in philanthropy and advocacy, particularly for causes close to his heart.
Absolutely. Willem Dafoe is involved in various charitable causes, particularly those supporting arts education, environmental conservation, and human rights. He actively uses his platform to advocate for artistic freedom and diversity in the film industry, understanding the power that art holds to foster understanding and empathy. He supports organizations that nurture emerging filmmakers and actors, believing deeply in the transformative power of storytelling to foster empathy, challenge perspectives, and inspire change. His environmental activism, for example, is tied directly to his upbringing and his father's work as a conservationist.
Bringing it full circle.
Exactly. Fostering that innate respect for the natural world and its preservation. He encourages sustainable practices and conservation efforts, showing that his values extend far beyond the screen and into a broader commitment to the planet and its inhabitants. And what's fascinating here, I think, is how Dafoe's commitment to social responsibility and cultural enrichment aligns perfectly with his core artistic philosophy. It's not just about performance, it's about the broader impact of art and knowledge in the world, and he seems to embody that principle fully.
All of this dedication, all of this fearless artistry and commitment to his craft, it has understandably led to significant recognition and numerous awards over the years.
Indeed, he has received numerous accolades throughout his career, underscoring his stature as one of cinema's most respected and sought-after actors. He has garnered 4 Academy Award nominations, which is a remarkable feat.
4, yeah.
First for Platoon back in 1986 as Best Supporting Actor. Then for Shadow of the Vampire in 2000, also Best Supporting Actor. A third for The Florida Project in 2017, again Best Supporting Actor. And finally, for At Eternity's Gate in 2018, this time for Best Actor. That's a testament to his continued ability to deliver leading, critically acclaimed performances later in his career.
4 Oscar nominations across such a diverse range of roles and genres. That's truly impressive. It really showcases his enduring relevance and versatility.
It absolutely is. And in addition to the Academy Awards, he's been honored with Golden Globes, BAFTA, and Screen Actors Guild nominations, reflecting the widespread respect and admiration he commands within the industry from his peers and critics alike. His ability to consistently deliver riveting performances across an incredible breadth of genres has earned him this reputation as one of the most reliable, compelling, and fearlessly transformative actors working today. He possesses that unique blend of commercial success and uncompromised artistic credibility that is exceptionally rare to find in Hollywood.
So, what does this all mean for the future? Dafoe isn't just a celebrated actor resting on his laurels. He feels like an ongoing force, continuously pushing the boundaries of what performance can be.
He shows absolutely no signs of slowing down, even as we look towards, say, 2025 and beyond. He continues to take on challenging roles in both independent and mainstream cinema, actively seeking out projects that will stretch his abilities and offer new creative landscapes. His upcoming projects promise to expand his artistic boundaries further, with ventures into dramatic thrillers, historical dramas, and knowing him, probably various experimental films as well.
Always keeping us guessing.
Always. His legacy is unequivocally defined by his fearless exploration of human nature and his unwavering commitment to authenticity in performance. He isn't merely acting, he's embodying, dissecting, and revealing complex truths. He towers as an actor who seamlessly blends raw intensity with nuanced artistry, leaving this indelible mark on the landscape of modern cinema. He's not just a recipient of awards, he's regarded as a mentor to younger actors, inspiring them with his dedication, his willingness to take risks, and his deep respect for the craft itself. He remains a vocal champion of independent cinema, understanding its vital role in pushing artistic boundaries and telling diverse stories.
Yeah.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, Dafoe's influence extends far beyond his own performances. He exemplifies the power of dedication, artistic risk-taking, and uncompromising authenticity, ensuring his work will resonate for generations to come. He is, in essence, a living symbol of artistic courage and innovation, constantly reminding us that true artistry lies in the willingness to be vulnerable, to be precise, and to be utterly fearless.
So as you reflect on this deep dive into Willem Dafoe's incredible, multifaceted career, maybe consider this.
What aspects of that fearless artistry do you see echoed in other fields, perhaps? Beyond just acting, how does that willingness to take risks, to embrace authenticity, and to constantly push boundaries define excellence in any craft or pursuit, whether it's in science or entrepreneurship or even, your own personal creative endeavors?
It's a great question. We definitely encourage you to observe Dafoe's work with maybe a new understanding now, perhaps revisit some of his iconic roles, and truly appreciate the depth and the fearless dedication he brings to every single character. You might just see something new, something profound, even in the familiar.